What is going on, everyone? Today I'm going to do a review of the giant mouse IONA V2 in titanium, affectionately known as the Tiona or Tiona. This one is the Lynch version with the Blacksmith Lynch clip here. Love how that looks on this, the beautiful contrast. And for all of you that are familiar with the IONA, which I believe we all are at this point, this is a much bigger version than the V1. And if anyone isn't aware, I've had kind of a weird past with the IONA V1, and what I mean by that is this initially was a green aluminum IONA, always known for the thumb stud action, and the V2 still has that. We'll go through it in a second. And as you can see, there's been some changes. I'm laughing because I first put speed holes in it, and it looked incredible. Then I said, okay, let's put some chamfers on there. That looks great as well. Then I said, well, it's aluminum, so let's try to heat treat this, get sort of a rainbow color. And what did I do? I burnt the living out of the scales. Along the way, there was some comedy, which is also sort of why I'm giggling, is because when I showed Jesper this, when it just had the speed holes, his message back was, "Stop putting holes in my shit." It was just funny. Or I might be exaggerating. He might have just said, "Stop putting holes in my designs," which is sort of why I love the relationship we have. He's very straightforward, and I'm from Boston, so I kind of appreciate that. I also have the Prometheus IONA, which came with the flashlight, but let's give you sort of a comparison, and then I'll go through the specs. So this again is the V2. Put that right up there next to the V1, so you can see there's obviously substantial difference. Not substantial, but a difference, a size difference, which is really the main difference between the three. Well, that, and it's in titanium. So that should give you a good comparison. Also, just one last one, since the last couple knives I bought, or at least a couple out of the last, let's say, 5 I bought, have been the Lynch versions. Or in this case with the IONA, it's really just a clip is obviously the only difference, but that's the Biblio XL. That's actually a great size comparison. Very similar. But let's get back to the IONA V2. Let's get back to the IONA V2. So this one here has an overall length. It says it's 7.27, but I think the math is off by a tiniest bit, because it also says the blade length is 3 inches and the handle is 4.34, which should be 7.34, so I don't know where the discrepancy is. I can tell you that the V1 weighed 2.7 ounces. This one is 4.6. Obviously, the titanium is going to give it a bit more weight. And the blade length on the V1 was 2.88, and again, the blade length here is 3 inches. It's obviously a titanium liner lock. It's on washers, which is why it's known for its incredible thumb stud action. Just extremely comfortable. If you look at the, I guess, the little flare out here at the end on the handle, it really, with the titanium, it gives you a more, as I think Steve Antonesson had said this, it gives you more of a premium feel. But the handle, the way it's built with the titanium, it really locks your hand in there. I do wish the jimping went up a little bit further out. That's just personal preference, but either way, you still have good control of the knife. Super smooth, very sharp out of the box. Oh, also, it is a blade steel. Let's see if I can get a, there we go. CPM S90 or S90V. Blade width behind the edge is 0.114 or 115, I think. It's got a satin finish, obviously. It looks super nice, very smooth, very clean, classic look. And again, the ergonomics are incredible. I will do some cutting. Let's just take a quick look here. Definitely not an early lockup. Looks about 50%, if not a little bit more, which is always nice, at least from my perspective. Detent is definitely a bit light, but doesn't really affect anything. It's got great thumb stud action. Sorry, the camera angle doesn't provide a good angle to show the smoothness of the action, but it is a very smooth knife. It's got great action. I've gotten used to, or I've fallen in love with all my knives now, which is using my index finger. This one I don't really need to worry about it because, like I said, it is a liner lock, so I'm not putting any pressure on a lock bar or for a frame lock. But yeah, it's just a clean, classic look. Very good looking knife. Like I said, or at least maybe, I don't know if I did say it, I mentioned that the old, or the V1 was 2.7 ounces. This one's 4.6. But it is very comfortable. Doesn't seem heavy in pocket. Doesn't take up much space either. But it is a decent sized knife. There's no question. You can tell immediately that they added some size, both in the handle, I believe, but definitely in the blade. Just gotta clean this off for a second here. Just get a close up. It really is a very nice look. And I do love the contrast when you add the Blacksmith Clip from Lynch. There's no question. It provides more of an aesthetic. In my opinion anyway, the aesthetic is much better with that contrast. But even without it, you have a reversible wire clip that'll look just fine on it. And they work extremely well. But man, you really do have a good grip on this. And I can't tell you how awesome that little flare out in the end is. Of the handle. It does give you really good control. Feels like your hand is literally locked in there. Just a great overall knife. Definitely an upgrade from V1. I think Giant Mouse has hit the nail on the head with coming out with a lot of their production knives in titanium, because there is no question. I know the Biblio I brought up, the Lynch version, is carbon fiber, but the titanium Biblio XL, this, as well as the Tribeca, all in titanium, really does give it more of a GM or GMP feel. But yeah, I'll make sure to include some cutting video at the end of this. But I appreciate you guys checking out the review. I hope this helps for any of you that are looking to purchase one. It's definitely worth it, especially if you're a Giant Mouse fan. But again, this is the Giant Mouse IONA V2. This one specifically has the Blacksmith Lynch clip. Thanks for checking this out, guys. Appreciate it. Please subscribe and like.